We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred. With Maxwell Silverhammer. We are nothing sacred. With cruise control. We are nothing sacred.
Oh yeah, bitches. Welcome to Nothing Sacred, the show that isn't really a show.
This is a Nothing Sacred interview.
I'm Maxwell Silverhammer.
And I am Cruise Control.
And on the hangout with us, I guess, is Stu Peters, who is a fugitive recovery agent / lead investigator with Twin Cities Apprehension Team. Stu, what's happening, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks a lot for having me.
No, thanks for joining us, and thanks for helping out our law enforcement by doing what you can to make their jobs easier as well. Appreciate that. So,
or more difficult,
depending on yeah,
make it difficult on the criminals for sure. So, how did somebody even get into this kind of field, man? Do you have to go to school, or how does that work?
I kind of got lost on my way to a real career. I was going to school to be a cop. After high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I got into music a little bit. Kind of did what you guys did. I dabbled in, I was an on-air radio personality. I worked for Clear Channel. And I guess while I was going to school to be a cop, I decided school wasn't really for me. I needed to live a little bit after high school. So I moved out to California for a while, and then from California back to Minnesota, started school again. And I'm like, nah, I'm still not ready for this shit. So then I went down to Florida. And when I was in Florida and I was, starting back up in school and whatever, I got approached by a guy by the name of Anthony Rodriguez, who was a bounty hunter for a company. And Anthony was, he's like, man, while you're going to school and finishing up, why don't you come and work with me for a little bit? And I was like, yeah, it sounds really exciting. And I went out with him. I found an immediate passion for taking people who are actually wanted for violent offenses, crimes against persons, victimizing other people. They've missed court. They think they're going to go on the run and escape justice. And, we're there to stop them. I found a ton of success in it. I like the fact that I didn't have this bureaucratic hierarchy that I had to answer to. Kind of work when you want, make your own schedule. There's no shortage of shitbags, so there's plenty of work out there. So the income was there, and I just kind of rolled from there. And I came back here to Minneapolis in 2007. And started my own agency, and we have grown into just an absolutely stellar mega agency with an absolutely wonderful team. They make me look good every day.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
So when you do this, so basically so you got into this and you started doing this, and you were going to become a police officer. You said, but you said there's no bureaucracy or a lot less bureaucracy. How does the process work? If you in terms of you see someone who's out, is there like a reward for people? Like, do they still do that kind of stuff, like wanted and that kind of, or how does that work when you decide?
Yeah. So, basically what happens is, if you decide you've watched a few, episodes of Dog and Beth, and you're like, yeah, this is something that I could do. And you just want to go strap on a gun and a badge and become a bounty hunter. That's great. You can do that. But where your business comes from is these bail bond companies, and the bail companies have these people out on bail. And once that person fails to appear in court, the bail bond company has X amount of days to bring this person back into custody or pay the full amount of the bond. So, for example, if you, Silverhammer, are out on bond for $25,000, when you call from the jail to the bonding company, you're going to pay $2,500 in Minnesota. It's 10%, right? So you pay that $2,500 in exchange for that premium. The bail bond company then puts up an insurance policy valued at $25,000, promising the court that you will reappear. When you fail to appear in court, the court sends a notice to the bail bond company stating, hey, you don't bring this person back within this many days, you have to pay the full $25,000. So that bail bond company in turn would rather pay me and my team $5,000 to go get you than pay $25,000 to the court for somebody that they don't know, who they were just trying to help facilitate the release from custody. So where we get our business from is the bail bond companies. How many of them we have? I think right now we have 14 bail bond companies. We're by far and away the largest apprehension agency in the private sector in the entire upper Midwest.
Wow.
Damn. That's pretty amazing. Well, and you gotta have, I know there's a lot of times, you even said in one of your videos, you know, a lot of this job is pretty boring, and then there's the 1% of holy shit, you know. So there's points where you're going to all these dead leads and knocking on doors, and the guy doesn't live there anymore, and all that craziness, man. That's gonna wear on you after a while, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, it does, but you know, I'm an ADHD kind of guy, you know, and so when I'm doing surveillance, yeah, I'm watching, and it can be boring, but I got, you know, plenty of other stuff to keep me busy. We're carrying a caseload of anywhere between 30 and 50 felony fugitives from justice at a time. So while I'm physically watching for you, you know, I can also be, you know, investigating on my laptop here and looking into other cases, and, you know, I'm directing a team. So, you know, I got a bunch of guys running around doing different things. So, I mean, I can occupy that time. And plus, I love watching people. I mean, you know how crazy people are. It's just insane the amount of shit that you see when you're doing surveillance and you're parked, you know, on the north side of Minneapolis or over south in a busy precinct, and you're just watching dope deals go down. And I mean, it's very interesting watching these people. But, you know, you're right. I mean, 99% of the job is investigate, knock and talk, you know, surveil, sneak around in the dark, peeking through windows, just being basically a legalized creep. And then the other 1% is, you know, holy shit, you know, shit's hitting the fan and it's time to grab this guy or gal. And so it's not for everybody. And a lot of people that get into this business, you know, they watch reality shows on A&E, you know, Manhunters, Fugitive Task Force, things like that. And what they're showing on these TV programs, this real reality, quote unquote, is they're showing the stuff that people want to see. They're not showing the 99%. And so guys get into this business and they want to go smashing doors and busting heads and, you know, kicking ass and taking names. And I mean, there is a lot of that happens. I mean, and more recently, it's becoming more volatile with entitled attitudes and things like that. People feel like they've got no respect or regard for the law, and we don't have any authority, and we're not the real police, and blah, 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 until they end up in real handcuffs and go to a real jail and are appearing again before a real judge. And then kind of reality sets in. But I think that the days of the gunslinging cowboys kind of came to a screeching halt here recently. And I think a lot of that has to do with understanding the political structure of law enforcement, and trying to adapt to that, because we don't just deal with one department. You know, we work nationwide. So in all the years that I've been doing this, I've had the ability and the fortune, I would call it, to have experience working with, I mean, hundreds of agencies nationwide, and federal agencies and everything else. So I kind of understand the politics, and I think understanding that from an inner policing point of view gives me a better opportunity to make alliances with law enforcement out here, because we've been doing it for so long. You know, we're very successful, and we're not the assholes that are kicking doors and getting police called on us on a regular basis and things like that. So it's pretty involved.
Going into that, you mentioned before, like, yeah, you can just go ahead and strap on a gun and you know, and then go out and you know, kick doors down. There has to be some kind of what kind of certification do you have to go through to actually do this? It can't just be, you know, just grab a, you know, like the old Wild West type stuff, grab a gun, you know, vigilante type shit. There is a process, like a vetting process or some kind of process to get you where you're, or is it just
well, you know, you kind of hit a sensitive nerve with me with that question, and it's a great question. Every state has a different set of laws that govern bail enforcement or bounty hunting or fugitive recovery, whatever you want to call it today. And in the state of Minnesota, where my agency is, there are no laws that govern the way that we do business. And so, which I'm, you know, I'm a huge supporter. So first of all, I'll just be candid here on the record. I'm a conservative person. You know, my political viewpoints are very conservative, and so the last thing that I want is over-regulation, you know, or bigger government. Yeah. But I think this is kind of a pink elephant, because there is a tremendous amount of responsibility and a huge amount of liability that is involved with strapping on a gun and a badge and going and seeking somebody to take to jail who doesn't want to go there and who's facing many, many years in prison. And this isn't, you know, show and tell. This isn't A&E. This is real life. These people have real guns, and they have real motive to escape or kill you before they go to jail. So I am supportive of some type of legislation in Minnesota. I've been before some of the senators here and people in our House of Representatives to try to get something, at very minimum, some background checks. You know, some minimum, training qualifications or something like that. Now, for my agency specifically, we do have a standard operating procedure. We have a very long list of guidelines and procedures that we follow, and we have a policy of our own for hiring and what experience is required, what training is required, what ongoing training and education is required. And we are, as far as TCAT at our agency, the Twin Cities Apprehension Team, we are constantly training, and we're training with law enforcement agencies. We're training with private trainers, military trainers. Our canine handler graduated from McDonough Canine, which is one of the states in upper Midwest most revered. As a matter of fact, I just left the training field here about an hour ago. And there's police agencies from Iowa and from the Dakotas and from all over the state of Minnesota. I think there was about 18 squad cars parked out there today. And so, I mean, we invest a lot of time and an extraordinary amount of money into making sure that we're certified, and everything that we have the opportunity to get into, we do it, because it's not if, it's when you end up in court or in a situation where training is going to help you. And that's really all you have to rely on when you're in a crisis or under stress in a situation, is your instincts and your training. Muscle memory, you always go back to revert to your training and instincts. So the more you train, the more you're prepared for what's going to happen out here. So although Minnesota is very lax, and I'm disappointed with that, our agency is very in tune with training and policy.
Have you ever had to go to court for anything?
Oh yeah. I've had to go to court to defend myself. I've had to go to court to testify as an expert witness. I've had to go to court to testify as to our procedures when we apprehended a criminal defendant. So I'm pretty experienced in the courtroom, and I don't mind it. I don't get paid to go to court, but when somebody, for example, when we went down to Arkansas to grab a guy who drugged and raped a young gal, and his fat ass didn't want to come out, and we had to go in there and get him, and then he faked a heart attack in Normal, Illinois on the way back here, and we had to go to the hospital with him, and he shit all over himself in the truck, and I mean, he's just an absolute, I mean, he was a pig defined. This guy was a total animal. And we got him back here, and we went to court to testify as to his level of cooperation during the apprehension, and having any part of putting somebody away like that, and making sure that that the jury is very aware of the person that you saw during the apprehension and transport is priceless to me. I don't need a paycheck for that, because if I can be a part of putting an animal like that away, I'll take that all day, every day.
Yeah. Wow.
It's crazy. So yeah, like you were talking about before, definitely a fine line between between regulation and like you said, vigilantism, I guess you can call it. So obviously you've had some crazy stories. So I bet you have a lot of that where they like defecate and do crazy shit to get themselves out of going back to jail. It's like, I don't understand the logic, but I mean, like,
you're just delaying the inevitable.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we're here. We're not going away. I've gotten you're not the real police. Come back when you have a real badge. And I try to explain to them, listen, it's because I'm not the police and because I have a badge like this that I'm absolutely within my legal authority to come in that house, and I'm going to. You're coming out. You can do it under your own horsepower, or you can do it under ours. But one hurts less than the other, and it's always best to cooperate. We write reports. We e-file our reports with the courts. It's look if it makes you feel any better, or if I can sweeten the pot for you a little bit, we'll make sure that the judge knows that you were very cooperative. You came out hands empty in the air, and sometimes they do that. The large of people, especially more recently, they're just not into that, and they're wanting to play the adult game version of hide and seek. So we're down with that. We'll do that. Like I said, we've got a great canine handler, real good dog. And the hide and seek stuff is advantage TCAT for the time.
Well, here's a question regarding that. Sorry, Max, I didn't even
cut you off. We're that good.
So in that situation, so you have the ability to go into someone's residence without their permission. Like just,
right.
Okay.
Yep. Or without a warrant. Mm-hmm.
That seems like it could be very tricky for someone else in the resident who may live there, who has a firearm, who thinks you're intruding. Is there a way that you have to do that? Because it seems like the only way to catch someone is to not. I mean, you always get to announce yourself or something like that, but it seems like it could be a sticky situation in terms of trespassing, and liability in that way.
Yeah, I mean, there is that, and you know, our policies were written by the same attorneys that write policies for police departments. We have, you know, a very unique set of operating procedures that we kind of deal with in a situation like that. But in most cases, I mean, if you've signed for bail for somebody, or you're at your place of residence, or the co-signer, or a place that you listed on your bail bond application, you have waived your Fourth Amendment right to refuse consent to search. And especially now, if I see you inside of there and you're wanted with felony warrants, I mean, then it's totally game on. All that's probable cause. So all I need in the state of Minnesota to make entry forcefully is probable cause. I believe you to be a person that's perpetrated a felony. Any citizen can do that. I don't recommend that anybody goes out here, you know, affecting citizens' arrests and breaking into places to grab felony fugitives. But you're within the law to be able to do that. So I guess, you know, like you said, yeah, we do make announcements. We are very well marked. We wear, you know, external body armor carriers. We have our agency's name all over them. We have bail enforcement all over the place. You know, we wear badges. It's very obvious that we are some type of authority entity. We do announce that we're bail enforcement, that we're bondsmen, you know, all that kind of stuff. And excuse me, let me silence that. And so, you know, I mean, yeah, there is a lot of that. A lot of people will throw that in front of you to try to deter you from coming in there. At the end of the day, it's like, hey, if you want to sue me for your door, go ahead, fine, so be it. We're coming in, you know. And if we've spent, you know, weeks or months trying to locate somebody, and we've got them hemmed up into a house, it would take, you know, pretty much the threat of Al Qaeda coming to not go in there. You know, that this place is rigged with bombs and booby traps and explosives or whatever for us to not go in there. Because once we have you locked down, we're leaving there with you, and there's not a whole lot that's going to keep us out. So it's best just to cooperate.
Sorry, dude. My favorite was that dumb bitch you went to go pick up, whose husband or boyfriend was going, oh, she's getting clothes on. She's putting on her clothes, and was holding it up, man, for a good 20, 30 minutes. And eventually you guys had to get the police involved, man. Talk about that one a little bit.
Well, you know, that guy made that a very dangerous situation for not only himself, but for me, for his fugitive girlfriend, and for the child that was inside. I mean, now, I normally do not work alone. That day, I just happened to be kind of going alone to check on something. I was going to show a picture to a few neighbors. I ended up in the hallway. I saw her go into the house, you know. I knocked and nothing happened. I called this guy thinking he's going to cooperate. I was dead wrong, you know. And a lot of times we go through situations like this, and you're thinking on the fly. You know, you're doing everything, you know, that you think you should do. And, you know, I mean, sometimes it works out flawlessly, and other times it becomes a training experience. And this particular case became a training experience for me. I won't ever make that mistake again. But yeah, ultimately he wanted to stall me outside the door. You know, he acted very nervous. I was by myself. I was on the air with my team. They were en route to me. I asked, you know, for Minneapolis to respond with some squads. They came down, and basically, you know, for the police department, and I'll just be clear, we're not asking them to act as an agent of us, and we don't act as an agent of them. And we're very careful about not blurring or crowding those lines. And we're very adamant about letting people know, look, they're not with me. I'm not with them. But they're here to explain to you what my legal authority is. You're here wanting to know, you know, you mentioned that you want the police here. Okay, here they are. As if you're somehow insinuating that when the police come, you're going to totally cooperate, which, as you could see from the video, was the furthest thing from the truth. And so then, you know, obviously we get cuffs, and it's then she still wants to be wild and, you know, making stupid comments and things like that. And everybody becomes a real tough guy when they're in handcuffs, you know. And so it's yeah, I mean, everything is a shit show. Everything is a headache. That, you know, there's this need for attention. Like there's this platform that they desire. You know, I didn't make it as a rapper, so I'm gonna fight with the police or the bounty hunter or whatever. You know, so I don't know. It's definitely interesting out here. And what I love about my job, I mean, other than the reward of, you know, bringing somebody to justice that, you know, thought they were gonna elude it and leave their victims out here hanging. I mean, other than that, what I really enjoy and the rewarding thing, or not the rewarding thing, but the interesting thing about my job is, you know, every day is different. I don't go to the office and sit down and do the same paper shuffling bullshit every day. I mean, this is this is interesting to me because you meet all sorts of different people. And I mean, don't get me wrong, not everybody is a shitbag. You know, we deal with a lot of good people in shitty situations. You know, they made some mistakes, or they have some, you know, mental health issues, or they're PTSD and off their meds, or maybe they're bipolar or schizophrenic. They're suffering some sort of emotional disturbance, or, you know, demonstrating the behaviors of a person in crisis. And so, I mean, there's a lot of really good people that are just off their kilter, and, you know, they need to be kind of assisted into custody and you know, helped out into making the choices kind of for them, rather than them doing it on their own. And we do get a lot of thank yous. I mean, we get a lot of people. I mean, even walking them into the jail, if you watch our YouTube channel, there's a lot of people that say, hey, thanks guys, I really appreciate it. And, you know, we get comments from the jailers, did this guy really thank you? Yeah, man, that's customer service. You know, that's what we do. So it's
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, how many times do you get people, it seems like that are just totally like, because I there was a situation once a long time ago where a friend of ours was staying with us for a little bit, and they didn't tell us, or we didn't know what was going on in terms of their, I don't know the situation specifically, so I don't want to get too involved, but basically we didn't know what was going on. So when the you know, fugitive or bounty hunters, whatever the hell you want to call them, I guess, came in.
Bail enforcement.
Came in. It was a surprise to the people surprise to us, because I'm sure that happens a lot too, where you have people that they have no idea that these people are on bail, you know,
there's, I mean, 100% of them will tell you that. How honest they're being, I don't know. You know, oh my God, I had no idea. You know, and I mean, I'm sure some of them are being genuine, but you know, a lot of them are, you know, they don't want to be in trouble for aiding an offender or harboring a fugitive or whatever, and so they're always going to tell you that they had no idea, and even if you have proof of the fact that they did. But I mean, I'm sure, I believe you, in your situation you didn't know, and I'm sure it came as a surprise, and I'm sure that you were probably very cooperative with them, and the situation probably resolved itself. And you know, I mean, I guess if a friend of mine were staying with me and they did not tell me that they had felony warrants, and bounty hunters showed up at my house looking for them, I mean, I would obviously question the validity of the person's probable cause that's standing at my door. But ultimately, I mean, I'm, you know, look, you're not going to hide in my house. I mean, that's at the end of the day, I'm going to probably push you out of here, you know, and, so, and then everybody you take into custody was just about to turn themselves in too. That's another one of my favorites. I was just on my way. I was going to seriously, like,
I was getting dressed.
When you caught me coming out of the house and running over there into that field and diving into these bushes, I was on my way to turn myself in. I mean, that's where I was going. You guys, were you dumb or what? You know, so, I don't know why you guys got to be such assholes. I mean, I was just in the closet smoking a cigarette. I mean, this is where I go to prepare myself to turn myself in. You know,
I'm being good to the kid who's in the house. You know, I'm smoking a cigarette in the closet to be, you know,
mentally preparing myself to turn in like 5 minutes. So I don't know. I mean, catching me in the attic was just a pure coincidence.
So you got a YouTube channel. How long ago did you start that? And what was the idea behind doing that? About doing that as well? I mean, getting that. Because that seems like it's a kill two birds with one stone thing. You get yourself, you know, get some YouTube exposure, but you also kind of cover your ass in some situations too. Because you're always,
well, yeah, and I mean, of course, not 100% of the things that we do go on YouTube, because not all of them are viewer, you know, appropriate.
Absolutely.
But we try to put things up there because we want to show what really happens out here in the you know, bail enforcement world. It originally started a few years back. I don't remember exactly when, but it started. You know, I was on the news for a few things, and I thought it was kind of cool, and I wanted to retain that, and so I started a little YouTube channel, and I shared some of those things. And you know, it's also good for transparency. You know, when people say, oh, you know, these guys are a joke and they're out here, blah blah blah. Well, we like to show that we're not a joke, and that we, you know, operate in a professional manner. When we fuck up, we also put it on YouTube. You know, I mean, I'm editing these things because you don't want to see an hour and a half of me sitting in a car waiting. So, I mean, I'm editing film down, but you know, if we make a tactical mistake, or if we, you know, hey, we should have done this way, and next time we're going to do this, and blah blah blah, some of that we'll put on YouTube. I mean, we don't want to give away all of our secrets or all of our tactics, but some of that we'll put on YouTube just because we want to show people, hey, you know, nobody's perfect at doing this job. I mean, I'm a student of the game. I've been doing this a long time, more than most people I know who do this job. I consider myself to be a well-seasoned, experienced veteran in the game of fugitive hunting, and But I'm a student of the game, and every single day I learn something new, because the minute you think you know everything in a business like this is the day that it becomes very dangerous for you and the rest of your team, and you ought to just hang up the badge and go home, because the criminal element is evolving every day. The way people are hiding, thinking, apps, electronics, surveillance, I mean, everything is becoming more and more fast speed, and there's so much instant gratification due to social media and Snapchat and the way people can communicate and hide it and try to cover it. So, I mean, there's always learning to do in this business, and I would encourage anybody else that's in this business as a real bona fide professional to continue to make sure that they have that attitude to keep them and their teams and the public safe when they're doing this job.
We actually, and I think I was telling you, Stu, my cruise control and I have a friend. Remember Hazmat?
Yes.
When he had remember his show, Sin City Bounty Hunters?
Yeah.
And so Stu is kind of doing what they should have done, because they were being so corporate about it, and they wanted to get their stuff on Channel 5 at, on Saturday nights right after Cops. So what you guys are doing is what they should have done originally.
Well, it gives us the opportunity to maintain some creative control and chewing out the middleman and the networks and stuff like that who want to recreate and make fake reality and have you redo this or make that phone call. And I mean, there's a lot of value to that entertainment, and I appreciate shows like Live PD and the First 48 and things like that. I mean, I can binge watch these shows, and I know what they're doing, and I know when there's an edit and that kind of thing. But I think, for the general public, people find it very interesting because it's not something that they do every day. And that's the respect that I have for Dwayne Chapman, Dog the Bounty Hunter, and what he's done, because before him, nobody really knew what a bail bondsman was or what a bounty hunter did unless they were, involved personally in the criminal justice system. And then obviously if they had used bail, they would know what that is. But for the most part, he's responsible for bringing this profession to the forefront. Now, his son Leland is a good friend of mine. He's a real bounty hunter. He hunts down in the southern part of the country, and his family has gone through some really tough times, and a lot of that is stress brought on by a network, and it's a very stressful thing to be an entertainer and also try to do the job. So for me, it's just as equally rewarding, maybe not monetarily rewarding as being on A&E, but as far as having a platform and being able to tell the truth, I mean, sure, we have 17,000 subscribers. I hope it grows to 17 million. I'd love for everybody to see what it is that we do, but I'm not jumping off a cliff to go jump into the pocket of a network. If the right offer came along, I don't think I would be opposed to it, as long as we could maintain some creative control. But yeah, I like the channel, and I do a lot of the editing myself. And so I'm getting better at it. I mean, I'm no professional by any means, but I think every video is getting a little bit better, and the comments are reflecting that people appreciate that. And, then there's also the haters. Why the fuck do you got another camera following you around? You look like Patty Mayo. And, or who are you trying to be? I mean, you'll never please anybody. You can say the most perfect, truthful thing that makes sense to everybody, but there's always going to be a hater out there. I love the guys that, we post a video and it's like within 1 second, there's a thumbs down. You didn't even have time to watch the video. These people are just, they're on my jock. They're on my jock so hard that they're just like waiting. And it's like, so my response to them is, hey, caught you watching again, and appreciate the views. Have a great day. So, I don't know. And, there's haters everywhere. I'm sure you guys have them too.
Oh yeah.
You guys recently interviewed a good friend of mine, Bob Kroll, with the Minneapolis Police Federation.
Oh, if you look up, Google his name, and you'll see a bunch of slam articles about it from certain things that he says. And in 1992, whatever. Yep. You get yourself exposed, people will want to bring you down.
Start
That's
hating.
absolutely right. I mean, success breeds hate. So the more successful you get, the more exposure you have. The more likely you are to encounter it. And that's why I kind of tune it out. It doesn't affect me whatsoever. I'll answer a comment here or there if I have something factual to bring, or if somebody said something completely unfactual. But for those of the people out there that are just hating, I completely disregard it. So I don't even know if they can get satisfaction in leaving the comments anymore, because truthfully, I'm not even reading them.
We know internet warriors, man. You're really big. You're a really big, tough guy when you're behind a keyboard and a screen.
Oh yeah. Make you mad.
I have a question for you here regarding just your experiences, like with being a bounty hunter. I want to use that term. Fuck it, I'm going to use it.
All right, man.
Go ahead.
I'm just tired of it, because I just watched this thing where the UN is trying to have people change the words they use, like policeman is police officer. So I'm like, you know what? Like
Yeah,
bounty hunter.
police person, a bounty person.
Yeah,
There we go.
exactly. Bounty person.
Yeah.
What have you had a situation where you were just like, holy shit, we are in way over our heads. We need I'm in deep. I feel like I'm in deep shit here, like a holy shit experience, like where you maybe felt like you were like out of your depths or something like that, or needed police assistance or something like that. Like, oh shit, this might be really bad. Like,
Outnumbered,
Well,
maybe.
Yeah, we did have, one that sticks out in my head turned into a 30-hour standoff where eventually the FBI came down with their tactical team and their operators and helicopters and tanks and everything, and then they forced their way in. And the thing ended in about 20 seconds. But yeah, I mean, so we had a guy that was holed up on the south side of Minneapolis, and he was a gun guy, and there were 3 people in the house that we saw go into the house, and we knew they were the only 3 occupants. And we set up a perimeter really quickly, and there were some, I'm not going to name names or departments, but there was some federal agents there, right away, and there were some officers there right away, and we had a perimeter set up. And two of the people came out. The first person that came out, hey, how many people are left in the house? 2. Is one of them this guy? Showed a picture. Yeah, that's him. That's him. And then we got the second person to finally come out on their own horsepower. Hey, how many people are left in the house? 1. Who is it? They said the name. Okay, is this him? Picture. Yep, that's him. And this guy wouldn't come out. Well, these people also told us that he had several high-powered rifles inside and thousands of rounds of ammunition. And so at that time, when you have a barricading subject who's just not going to come out, and they're known to have, possess, and use firearms, they have assault backgrounds, including assaulting police or obstructing with force or, resisting or whatever, then, you need more guns. And so at that point, those that were unseen, requested some more squads and some more people to come down, and Minneapolis SWAT came down, and eventually they cleared, and myself and a couple of my partners and some guys from some other agencies, we held the perimeter overnight until the FBI agreed to come down the next morning, and they came down the next morning, and the situation was resolved. So, I mean, yeah, we don't need to be heroes. We don't need to put the handcuffs on everybody. We're not reckless or anything like that. So we're not too prideful to admit when we could probably use some more guns, and we don't have any problems asking for them.
Wow. Well, and my friend Sharon, I told her I was going to ask this question because I let her see a few of your videos, and we saw the one where the girl wanted her gold, and her all her stuff to go to jail with. And
yeah.
So she looks and she goes, no wonder he keeps a bottle of something in his car. And I guess she said it looked like there was a bottle of Tums in your car. Do you keep that around just in case some of these guys get you worked up?
I don't know what she was seeing, but no, I'm not much of a Tums or a Rolaids guy. Antacids don't really do it for me. This thing just burns all the time. But no, I don't have. I don't know what she was seeing, but I do usually keep a bottle of. What is that? True Leaf tea. I love that stuff. Pure Leaf or whatever that shit is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I like drinking that, and I'll always have a bottle of hand sanitizer. I'm not drinking that, but some days I feel like I should. But no, I maybe she saw some breath mints or something. I got to look good. You got to smell good. You got to, have the professional image. And, anyway, but no, I appreciate the question, but I guess I do not recall. That would be my standard answer in court, and I'm going to use that one here.
No Tums. Wow, man. What was that was the other thing you had? You chased that chick that was barefooted. I thought that was kind of cool.
What are you doing? Where do you think you're going? You got no shoes on. I mean, this is what is this? So, yeah, she quickly realized, look, I don't know what I'm doing here. Just, I'm right here. Come over here. And so that ended. But, people will run with, we had a guy recently run right out of his flip-flops. There's a video up on our page of that. In St. Paul, the guy fled and he went up a hill, and we found him underneath a deck. But this guy, when he took off out of the house, I couldn't believe it, man. This guy was a burner. If he wasn't a criminal, he could be in the NFL. Well, I guess the NFL doesn't discriminate against criminals, so he potentially could get a workout. Right. But, this guy was in flip-flops, and he ran right out of them and then up the street there. There's pebbles and shit all over the sidewalks, and that did not slow him down at all. So, if he hadn't just smoked 4 blunts to the head, and destroyed his lungs and had a habit of doing that with, absolutely no endurance whatsoever. I was very convinced that he didn't make it more than a block, because that was about a 12% grade uphill. And, I know what his habits are. So we stuck to it. And, my gut instinct told me we just got to keep going around in this block. I think he's right over here. And then, of course, I told my partner who was on the street, I said, hey, look underneath that deck right there. And then sure as shit, there he was. So but yeah, I mean, people do all kinds of crazy stuff to get away and hide in these we've had people hide in freezers. We've had people hide in washers and dryers, and obviously attics. We've got people that have false walls, and they'll hide in places that are specifically meant to be hiding places. Like, I mean, these are experienced criminals who know eventually the police or us are going to be coming looking for them. So they actually manufacture places to hide inside of their residences. And it's just like, I mean, what a shitty way to live, Yeah. And I mean, everybody's got to grow up sooner or later. And I would encourage anybody who's a criminal that's listening to this let now be the time to grow up. But obviously not everybody, because we still need to provide for our families. So a few of you guys can hang out there and run, and we'll come and play the adult hide and seek with you. But it's when you're 47 years old and you're, hiding under your mom's couch after just smoking a meth bubble, and your girlfriend's running around with a COVID mask on because she's scared of the coronavirus, but she's injecting heroin and smoking 10 bubbles. I mean, yeah, it's time for a life check. Like, is this really what I want to do for the rest of my life?
That's true. You said that you got you said that you noticed like the entitlement and just the, like, obviously sovereign citizens have been blowing up lately and that kind of stuff. So you've noticed an increase in that just refusal to cooperate over recent years because of
not only
culture?
Yeah, I mean, not only have I watched it increase, but I've watched it be perpetuated and encouraged by liberal Democrats. I mean, criminal behavior is embraced by liberals, and recklessness and lawlessness and disrespect for police. I mean, politicians are out there saying fuck the police. They're encouraging riots. I mean, they should be jailed for inciting a riot. So these elected quote unquote politicians that have all of this power per se are out here breeding this sense of entitlement and handcuffing the police. I mean, they're more apt to prosecute a police officer nowadays than they are to prosecute the asshole who assaulted them and forced them to use force against them to effect an arrest. So, I mean, yeah, and it's not getting better. It's getting worse and worse by the day. And that I mean, you watch it on the news all the time, and you can go watch countless YouTube videos of people fighting with the police. You watch people, if I'm out here on the street to my left fighting somebody in 5 minutes, there will be more people gathered around me, not to help me, but to videotape me to make sure I'm not doing anything I shouldn't be doing during this fight for my life. Yep. A guy with a gun or a guy with a knife who's coming at somebody else, and I get involved to help that person will end up videotaping it and saying I used too much force to get the asshole that was trying to stab him or her. And so, I mean, you have these do-gooder, nanny state, liberal Democrat, mental health issue people running around. I swear liberalism is a mental health issue. But you have these people running around actually pushing this agenda on their constituents because they believe it's going to advance their political aspirations and their careers and get them more votes. And you know what? Sadly, it's working. And so it's just breeding more and more and more of this entitlement and more violent action against police or us or anybody with any kind of authority. I mean, you see it happening in schools with teachers being assaulted by students. You see parents getting assaulted by their kids. Man, if I would have stepped to my dad,
yeah.
And I mean, my dad is 73 years old right now, and I still wouldn't step to him. My dad could be in a wheelchair and paralyzed from the waist down and still find a way to kick my ass. I just, and that maybe not physically true, but that is just a level of respect.
It's great.
Same with your mom. My mom, the worst thing you could get is a smack to your face from your mom in front of your friends.
Yeah. Well, and you do that now, and I mean, they're gonna put you in jail, get the kids away from you, and then your kid's gonna turn into a shitbag at the end of the day because they've been told that it's okay to do that, and you can go at your dad with a knife and not expect any repercussions. And yeah, your teacher is a power hungry authority figure who's restricting your right to freely move about, and all this other bullshit. And it's just. it's really sickening. It's disheartening. I don't know anybody in their right minds that would want to be a police officer these days. That's why the candidacy numbers are way down. It's why the quality of the candidates are way down in the law enforcement sector. I've heard it from so many people that are on interview panels with police departments. The quality of the candidates that I get here are trash. The number of candidates that I get is trash. And that's because nobody who's sane and of a sound mind with any kind of common sense whatsoever would want to come out here and do any kind of law enforcement work whatsoever, because you're going to be the one they make an example out of. You're going to be the one that they criminalize. You're going to be the one paying the price.
Yep. It's
sorry about that. I was kind of a rant.
No, that was good.
No, it's perfectly true. Why would you want to get shot at and then later on get sued for it because you're trying to protect somebody?
Exactly. Yeah, it's insane. Speaking of Bob Kroll, he just pulled into the Federation here. I'll give him a little head nod.
Good head nod, man. You're on live.
yeah. He probably thinks I'm a suspicious vehicle. He's going to come up here and rip me out of this car. That's another guy I wouldn't want to screw with, by the way. He's kind of got that whole dad persona, and Bob Kroll he's a tough son of a bitch, man. I don't know if he needs a gun belt. This guy. He's you know what? He's a really great advocate for police here. He does a tremendous job backing his cops, and as long as his cops are doing a good job, I would rather be represented by nobody else. So in case he's listening right now as he's backing in here, I just want to make sure that he's aware.
I rock his Cops for Trump t-shirt, by the way. He sent me one, and I've got it, and I've worn it several times now.
I got the hoodie and the t-shirt, and I tell you what, I get some looks, man, and I just love smiling back at people. We had are you familiar with Menards, the chain? Do they have Menards where you guys are?
Oh, no, that doesn't sound familiar.
No.
Menards is like a Home Depot or a Lowe's, right? And they're like a lumber yard / hardware home improvement type place. And they're pretty big here in the upper Midwest, and they are requiring people to wear masks. And it's that I told the guy at Menards, I'm like, you understand making these people wear masks now is kind of like a pregnant girl deciding she's going to, use birth control. Or it's a little too late for that, so a lot of people are boycotting this Menards or whatever. Well, the other day I saw a woman go in there and she was absolutely refusing to wear it, and it became kind of a big what to do. And she's like, "Look, I'm a 26-year registered nurse. I know the health implications and the danger that I'm putting myself in by wearing masks for an extended period of time. I'm not going to wear it. If you make me wear it, I'm going to sue the shit out of you. It's my choice. This is America, and I'm not wearing the fucking mask." And about her way she went. And the guy goes, "Okay." So, I was kind of happy to see that. I understand the whole respect other people's space and, this and that. I believe the coronavirus is a real thing, but I also believe that it's obviously been way blown out of proportion by the mainstream media, who's in the tank for these leftist liberal politicians who obviously want to destroy a presidency and never let a crisis go to waste. So I don't know. I'm not a health expert. I'll leave that to them. But I do know that I'm an American, and I do know that I support anybody who fights for their individual liberties and their freedom.
Well, I have several masks, man. I wear them not because I'm afraid of the virus, but I'm afraid of the fuckbags around me, what they're going to do. Hey, you don't have a mask on. I'm going to kill you. You're, spreading germs or whatever, just ridiculous.
I'm not as scared as the coronavirus as I am as how people are reacting to the whole thing.
Oh yeah,
that's what
people are absolutely nuts out here.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, and it's obviously, I'm sure it's been a little bit of a impact on how you do your job a little bit, I'm sure.
Well, I've heard it come up in your videos and a few new ones recently. People will say, "Oh, I got coronavirus. Don't arrest me. Don't touch me," or something.
Yeah, we get that. Oh yeah, I got that COVID. Don't touch me. You're gonna get sick. And our response to that is, we already had it. We've already got it.
Yeah, if it's out there, we already have it.
Don't worry about it.
Well, they think a hell of a lot of people do.
I'm doing an interview with your guy Silverhammer right now. Yeah, I figured this was a good spot to pull over. Yeah, here's Kroll checking me out.
That's hilarious.
He's a past offender on the Nothing Sacred show.
Yeah, he is.
That's funny.
He's He wanted to check me out, just like I thought. You see, and that's a trained observer right there. This vehicle doesn't look like it should be here right now. Who in the hell is this? So
Yeah.
he rolled up on me in his suit and tie, ready to rock and roll.
He recognizes your car though, doesn't he? Like, oh wait,
Oh,
that's
there's a
Stu.
lot. No.
Well, we're kind of in a different one, every day. We switch up our vehicles
Yeah.
quite a bit. So Bob Kroll's got enough to worry about. I don't know if he really even cares about what it is that I'm driving. He just knows that I'm a vehicle that's not
Supposed
to be parked here during COVID times. So,
well, thank you so much for joining us, Stu. Let's get some information about how people can find out more about what you do and your YouTube channel and anything that you want to, any information about where you want people to direct them to if they can find out more about what you do. So
yeah, if you want to go on YouTube and check us out, you just go to YouTube and you search Twin Cities Apprehension Team. Or if you don't know how to spell all of that, certainly no problem. You can just put TCAT. The letter T is in tango, followed by cat, like the stuff you eat. Mm-hmm. And then you can also, we're on Facebook, Facebook /TCATMN as in Minnesota. And the same on Twitter and the same on Instagram is @TCATMN. So, and you can search Twin Cities Apprehension Team on any of those platforms, and it'll bring you right to our nice silver star badge, very professionally designed, and represents a great heart and soul of the guys that make me look good every day. And I got to give a shout out to those guys too, because without my team, Richard and Sisawan and Dylan and Bobby Jensen, our canine handler, and Nick Dawadenko, a great addition to our team, Dustin Richard. We've got a lot of really good guys that work along with us. And without those guys, I couldn't do a fraction of the stuff that I do now here. So again, they make me look really good. And it's everybody brings something different to the table. Our dichotomy is just so interesting because, all of our guys come from a different background, and hopefully on social media, you'll get to know all of the guys on the team. And I think we should start doing that a little bit more on YouTube also. I think we should start doing a little bit more, get to know this guy or get to know that guy. And maybe I should start showing better angles of other people instead of just always focusing on me. But then again, you want to have the best looking, most handsome person in the forefront. So
Gotcha.
I don't know. I mean, I don't want our subscribers to go down.
Absolutely. You got to make compromises.
That's why we don't show our faces on our shit, man.
Speak for yourself, bro.
Actually, you guys also have Twin Cities Apprehension Team shirts, don't you, that you sell?
We do. Yes, we do have a merch store that you can find on our website. Just go to tcattv.com. That's going to be our new little thing now, tcattv.com. We're going to direct everybody there for our media stuff. And on that page, there's kind of a half-assed website right now with a janky little merch store. If you want to show some support for us, we'll definitely give you a high-quality piece of merchandise that you can run around with and impersonate a TCAT agent. I got no problems with that whatsoever. I will say that with that being said, our website is going to be undergoing a massive reconstruction. It's going to be fantastic and super interactive. You're going to be able to leave us video comments, and we'll give you shout outs on our YouTube channel, and we're going to become as interactive as possible because that's the wave of the future, and that's what we want to do. And we want to feel like people are directly involved with us and us with them. And so we're going to be doing a lot more of that and growing. We might do some parody, funny type videos and just anything that we can do to kind of just share who we are as people, because I mean, the job is one thing, but if we weren't all human beings who could laugh doing our job and have fun doing our job and crack jokes and be assholes, we would all go absolutely nuts dealing with the shit that we have to deal with. So, forgive our personalities. If you don't like something sarcastic we say, you can fuck off because we don't really care. But if you want to support us, those are the platforms that you can do it. But yeah, definitely we want to get our YouTube numbers up. And we want to communicate with you guys. We want to be in the know, and we want you to be in the know. So make sure that you hit us up on YouTube. And from there, in the descriptions of most videos, I'm pretty good at putting how to link up to us on our other sites. But yeah, grab some merch, send us some videos to our Facebook page of you in your merch, and support us all the way around. We're the good guys, and we appreciate all the love that we can get.
Nice.
Thank you. Like I said, thank you very much for helping. Serving in your own way and helping those who serve. I guess we can wrap this up, right, Max?
Yeah, we sure can. Well, bitches, I'm Maxwell Silverham.
And I am Cruise Control.
And that's the story
there.
Bitches!
That's a sacred interview.
We are nothing sacred. sacred. We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred. With Maxwell Silverhammer. We are nothing sacred. With cruise control.